What's going on, everybody? Today we're working on the Yamaha Rhino 660. So let me tell you what's going on. The engine cranks fine and it runs pretty fine. I noticed not long ago, I checked the oil dipstick, and the oil dipstick, there wasn't any oil touching the end of the dipstick. So I said, that's kind of weird, right? I got on the internet, looked around a bit, and there was quite a few people that said that these burn oil. I actually saw people saying that it would be full, but it still doesn't touch the dipstick. I don't understand why they would ever make it like that. So I don't know what these people are talking about. But once I did fill the oil in this engine here to the dipstick, it started smoking real bad. And oil was coming so bad so that oil was coming out of the tailpipe. So in saying that, the engine has compression because it runs, it starts, it drives, it just burns oil. So my thinking is possibly maybe the head gasket, but I would have to open it up to look at the oil channel, with a portion of the gasket where the oil channel would be. I've never worked on one of these before, so I don't know if it's going to be exactly the same. I'm just going to do this and you're going to come along for the ride. But it could be leaky valve stem seals. So I guess what the first thing I'm going to do is start taking some of this stuff off so that I can set it to top dead center. So let me flip you around and I'll show you what I'm going to take off first. All right, so we got to get this out of the way because this goes to this. And it's in the way back there, and you use a mark that's under here somewhere for the top dead center. We got to get this one off too. You hear my chickens hollering at me? But there she goes again. And then we're going to get this carburetor off. So first things first, let's get this off and I will be right back. All right, so it comes right off. It's 5 10-millimeter bolts. It sits in like that. So you got one at the top, one on the right side, one at the bottom, and one on the bottom left. And then this one here that connects to this bracket back here is for support. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna stick these bolts with this and put it somewhere safe and move along. I'll be back. All right, so on the passenger side of the UTV, I'm going to stick my phone down right next to the part we just took off, that cover. Right there, that circle with the line, you take that out with a flathead or a coin or whatever the hell you can get in there. And that's where you'll be able to see your timing marks. So now that we got that done, I'm going to pop on the other side, get that plastic piece off. All right. So that band clamp right there is a 2.5 millimeter. It's kind of a pain to get to. So I'm going to pull off these plastic panels right here. They are, you should have these push plastic pieces in there. If I were you, I'd go ahead and order another set of them from Amazon. You can get a crap load of them for next to nothing because every single one of those is going to break. That's what I had to do. But anyway, so there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 on the side here. And then there's one right here. And you got to release these clips right there. So I'm going to pop both those out. Let me get this Allen in there, get that out. 2 10-millimeters right here, and it's out. I'll be back. All right, so I just put those bolts for that plastic piece right back in the bracket. I'm just going to leave that sitting the way it is, and now we're going to go ahead and pull off the carburetor here. The clamps for this, this side is a 2.5 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 3 millimeter. Let's go ahead and we will get all those loose. We'll start disconnecting all the little hoses and stuff. Make note where they go because you're going to want to know where they go when you put it back together. And I will be back. All right, so after loosening the clamps I showed you, I did this one, and this one. You probably could just get away with this one and this one and pull this out as one piece. But those are loose. So now we've got the choke out. I disconnected this fuel line from here and I just stuffed it kind of like that over to the side. And now chicka, we have to get the throttle cable out let me go to the other side. All right, so we take the cover off of this throttle cable here. It's 3 Phillips head screws, and then there's a gasket here that you don't want to lose also. And then there's this jam nut here. You want to loosen that, and then you can screw this lefty-loosey out. See, it's not connected anymore. Once you do that, you pull it. Wait, no, you don't pull it. You push it like this, and then you undo this brass piece. Do not lose the brass piece, but you pull this out so that the cable can thread out, and then this should be completely loose. I'll be right back. All right, so now I've just pulled it loose from both sides, and I'm gonna kind of put it on its side here so I can get this brass piece out. I can't do it while I'm holding the phone, so I'll be right back. I almost forgot. There's these 2 wires on the bottom of your carburetor. You can't mix them up. They're 2 different connectors, unless somebody's worked on yours and made them the same. Mine are different. So now, all right, so I disconnected this coolant line here, and I just shoved it down in a bottle. As you can see, it's leaked a little. This is the coolant hose that comes off here, is this one. I just shoved a bolt down in it, just laid it to the side. This connector here that goes right here, I disconnected this one and bent it back and stuck it here. This right here is your oil line. There's copper crush washers you don't want to lose, but that's a 12 millimeter, and then that one's a 17 millimeter. And once I thread that out, I should be able to pull that whole thing off, and then I should be able to go ahead and pull the valve cover off. Let me get to that point, and I'll be back. All right, so I got that top bolt out, and I got the bottom bolt and the top bolt out, and there's also a bracket. And that is a 5 millimeter right there. All right, so I've got them all cracked. I've got all of these loose. What I did was I took the cardboard and I drew circles. Ow! I drew circles on it, and this being this viewing window, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 2 that are inside of it, and then I worked it the rest of the way down. I'm gonna go ahead and pull them all out. Poke those holes out, shove the bolts in there, and I'll be back. All right, now I'm going to show you. This is the order they are on top of the head if you're just looking at it. Top, bottom, left, and right. Now look. All kinds of different sizes, and that's why you want to either you have a really good memory or make a note like this. I'll be back. Okay, so once you got all those bolts out and put to the side, little rubber mallet, tap, 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 tap. There's a dowel pin down here, so you might want to get a flathead, come from underneath and pry it up. I put this towel here because there's oil in the head here. I'm gonna get some paper towels and try to clean that out a little bit so it's not just getting the shit dirty over and over again, and I'll be back. Okay, so that's that little cap I was talking about earlier that I used the flathead to get out, and the way that I did it was I put my phone on this side of the bar and I just lowered it down just like that, held it flush, and then I turned the engine over until I could see the white line there, and then you got your 2 punches on the head on like level with the head there, and that should be your top dead center. I'll be back. All right, so I got that little porthole right here out so I could see the top dead center mark there, and I used my 17 millimeter on this nut right here to turn it over clockwise. I took the spark plug out to make it easier to turn over, but there's punch notches on the sides of the camshaft or cam sprocket here that you want like this level with the head. Okay, it's on top dead center now. And now what I'm going to be doing is loosening this tensioner, and then I will take the tensioner out, and I will be right back. Okay, so instead of taking the cam sprocket off, what I did was I grabbed the chain, because after I took the tensioner out, I grabbed the chain and I just lightly took it off the sprocket and just held it over here to the side and just pulled the whole camshaft out, and now I have this the chain hung up here so that it doesn't fall down, and obviously so it stays on the teeth down below. All right, now after you get the camshaft and the sprocket out, you're gonna wanna pull out that chain guide right here. Get a pick or something like that. Just grab one of the sides of it. It pulls right out. And I'll be right back. Now I'm gonna store the cam and the guide in this here Ziploc bag. And then we're gonna be cracking head bolts, and I'll be right back. All right, before we start popping head bolts, we gotta get the exhaust off. So let's go ahead and, it's 4 and they're 12 millimeter. I'll get those off and then we'll start the head studs. Okay, so once you get the 12 millimeters loose, there's gonna be these 2 brackets, they slide down, and then you just wiggle the hell out of this and it comes out. All right, and then onto the head studs. All right, so this here manual that I bought online, I think it was only $15. So these are the cylinder head bolts. There is 1 there, and then that's the order too. Loosen the bolts in the proper sequence. 1, there's 1 underneath that goes up. That's 2. On the back side of the head, this is where the exhaust side is. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, and once I get over there and start cracking them, I'll tell you what the sizes are when I come back. I'll be back. Okay, they're all loose. And I already loosened the one that went up from the front and then the one that went up from the back and this 5 millimeter here, okay? All 4 of these head studs have a washer. You see that washer? Especially these right here. Look, you don't want to drop that washer down in here. So be very careful right now. I'm going to get these out and I'll be right back. All right, this is kind of like a 2-stage process. If you're by yourself, it's going to be a little bit harder, obviously, but it's doable. So you have to pull you have to lift the head enough to where you can grab this chain in the gap between the block and the head, so that this chain, again, doesn't fall down in here. And once you can hold onto this, get the head up, because this chain goes through the head, obviously, and then you retie it up the way I have it here. Yeah, I've been burning the hell out of oil, you can tell. Well, at least, I mean, that's what I said in the beginning anyway. But look at all that. Nasty. All right, I've cleaned it up. Is it just me, or does it look like these valves have like gotten literally like melted a little? Like that's... See what I'm saying? But anyway, I had it sitting like this and I poured gas into here and I looked inside here and both of those sides were letting gas down. All right, so I did order me a valve spring tool for ATVs and UTVs. From looking down in here, and I got some pictures that'll maybe show it better, but this is the exhaust side, and these valves, man, you just tell there was all kinds of oil running down in there. So I think I was right with the valve seals being leaky. Let me get a pick or something. As you can tell, these are kind of stiff, so they probably weren't sealing all that well against the valve stem. And my chicken's talking to me. What you got to say? But yeah, so I ordered a new gasket kit. I ordered a set of new valves because I really don't like the way that this valve looks. So I'm going to replace those. I'm going to relap. Obviously, I'm going to have to relap if I'm replacing valves. It's like, look, that looks normal, new, and then that just has like, looks like melted material on it. And my chicken's giving me attitude. But let me show you the intake side of the valves down there. See if I can get a good view. It's probably not doing it any, you probably can't see, but they're very clean on the intake side. Well, I also grabbed, I forgot to mention, I also grabbed a set of head studs, not just head bolts, head studs. Those are supposed to be single use, and I am pretty certain somebody's had this head off before, so they probably reused those. All right, so I got a razor blade. We are going to be getting this gasket material off. After that, I've got my little drill. I'm going to use that to on the new valves because I have those. I believe the valves are in this box. These are the head studs. But so I can lap them. I'm gonna take. I'll show you when I get there. But right now we're gonna get this gasket material off, and I will be back. All right, so we got the head cleaned up here. All the gasket material off. It's good enough for me, so I'm just gonna send it the way it is. I did clean out down by the valve seals and stuff down here. I didn't make it perfect because this is my vehicle. And I think it will be fine. I'm gonna send it the way it is. So now we got to get the valves, and I don't have any lapping compound, so I am going to use toothpaste. Yep, it should work. Anyway, let me go get the toothpaste. I'll get the valves out and stuff, and we'll hook my drill up. I'll show you how that works, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm gonna use my toothpaste, a little bit of lube. What I'm going to do is, these are the exhaust valves. The exhaust valves are slightly bigger than the intake valves. So make sure you put the right two, because this set that I bought, they had them packaged wrong and I had to compare them all and sort them accordingly, okay? Well, before we stick it in there, we got to take the toothpaste, put a little bit around the edge, and then slide it in. And once the back end of this comes out, I'll put the drill on the other side of the head and just go back and forth and use a little bit of lube with the toothpaste and get this lapped. Let me get it set up and I'll be right back. Okay, little bitty bit like that. We are gonna send it, turn it around, and then my drill can hook to that bad boy right there. Squirt. Set this right here, and this is what I'm talking about. Put another little dabby dab in there. Turn it around a little bit, get some on the other side. Okay. Do it again. All right, so I got both of them worked. I did mark them so that if I have to pull them out, and it was just a reminder so I don't forget where they go. And I did a little L and an R on the head so that, you know, LR works. Anyway, so what I'm gonna get is I'm gonna get the valve spring compressor. I'm gonna put the valve springs back in, and I'm gonna test to see if that leaks now. And if it does, obviously we got to take it apart, lap them again. Okay, well, I got them all propped up. All right, that should be good enough. And we will come back in a little while to see if that drained. I'll be back. Sorry about the wind, but I don't know if you can see up in there, but they're both dry. That little bit that's on this edge right here, that rolled down the front because this isn't perfectly level. And when I filled it, it rolled down the front here. But the insides are dry, intake and exhaust side. I don't need to show you the intake side because if you watched the first part of this video, you saw that it was nice and clean and nothing wrong with it. So what I got to do now is dump the gas out, wipe it all off, and then I need to take the valves back out because I did not put the valve seals in because, you know, I didn't want to do that in case I had to pull them back out and relap them. But they're good, so we got to get them back out, put the valve seals on, and when I get to that point, I will be right back. Okay, I got us a little bit out of the wind at least. So now, let's see. I used my magnet here to get the bottom part of the valve seat out. Sorry, there it is. The bottom part, I did it at both of them, and I used a Q-tip to clean underneath of them. Now I will be putting the little valve seals on, and then the springs and the retainer's back in here in a second. So let me see if I can snap one of these on while we're... There we go. Just push it down on there. And she on there. Let me get the next one in, and I will be back. Okay, so now this just gives me even more confirmation, because and this valve is pulled all the way up. See, I'm pulling, and the new valve seal is not letting it fall down. Previously, they were just dropping down as soon as I dropped the springs. So yeah, it's definitely a good to go moment there. I just noticed there's a little bit of scratching in this journal here on this head. I'm gonna send this. Again, this is my personal UTV for me to beat the hell out of and make videos. So once it breaks, maybe I'll get a video of me replacing the head here. Anyway, I got the valve seals on, obviously. I got one valve in, so now I'm going to get the spring and retainer and everything in, do the same thing to the other side, and keep it moving. Okay, so I'm going to kind of try to show you how I'm putting these keepers back in. Obviously, I have it tightened because the spring is down. So now I have my hand on the back side of this because I'm pushing the spring towards me so that that gap will widen up. See that? So I can get the other keeper in there. I was having hell before I figured out this little method. It took me about 5 minutes to get the first set back in. But anyway, I'm going to get these in. I'll be back. Oh, I also forgot to mention I gave it a few smacks to make sure that that's seated in there, and you know, that's not going to come flying off when this is all back together. Anyway, now I'm going to do the other and I'll be back for real. Here is the gaskets and such. This is a MLS gasket, multi-layer steel. So I'm going to get that same razor blade. I'm going to clean off all that gasket material on the block here, and I will be back. All right, got her cleaned up as much as I care to do, considering you know, I could be taking this thing apart again. Anyway, oh, I missed a little bit over here on the side. Let me get that. And then I'll be putting the head studs in, and I'll be back when I show you that. All right, we got the head studs in, the head and the block. These did not come with any kind of instructions, so I treated them just like ARPs. I hand tightened them all the way down, backed them off a quarter of a turn on both, those and those. I got nuts and washers over here. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on the top of the washer for the nut to go spin freely on when I'm tightening it down, when I'm torquing it down rather. But now I got to get the gasket on there. I gotta finesse this chain so that I don't drop it down in there, and let's see if we can get it done. The gasket has up right there, like put into it. You know, you flip it over this way, it doesn't say anything, but up. So we're gonna go with that configuration. Let me get it on there and I'll show you. All right, looks good, looks good. All right, next we're gonna slap the head on there, still at top, dead center. Let's do it. All right, so this is what I did. I undid this and held it right here. I put the head on top of my hand, and then I held the head with my left hand and used my finger to drag this back out, and then I tied it up, set the head down right here, you know, chain's still there, and now I'm going to finesse it down on the head studs, and let me get that and I'll be right back. All right, that wasn't bad. We got her slid down on there. Our head studs are popping out. Oh, for the head studs, one side of the head stud had longer, or they had more threads than the other side. The side with the least amount of threads went up. All right, so that's in. Let me get the torque sequence, and let's start pinning this thing down. All right, we got our torque wrench with an 11 millimeter, because that's what these nuts are. I have the torque sequence, and the it's 27 foot-pounds on these bigger ones, and I think it's like 7.2 foot-pounds on that little one there. They are head studs, so I'm just gonna round up. I'm gonna go 28 foot-pounds on the head and go 8 foot-pounds on the smaller ones there, and I will be back. All right, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, the bottom one 5, bottom one 6, and I'm gonna get it. I'll be back. Decided to go to 30 foot-pounds on the head. Can't hurt. They're studs. They're not regular head bolts. Anyway, I'm gonna get the rest. All right, we got the head torqued down nice and tight. So what am I going to do next? I think I'm going to go ahead and connect the exhaust down there. Yep, doing the exhaust next. And don't forget that your new gasket set's going to come with a couple of gaskets for the exhaust side. So replace them. I'll be back. All right. So it's pretty simple. You get your little gaskets in there. You can take your right hand and move the pipe out of the way. If you need to, you can use a little bit of grease or something. That'll just burn off later. But like use a grease on the back side of the gasket and to get it to stick up in the head, because I mean it is facing down. And then you got to get your little sandwich plate brought back up and start your nuts on it. And I'm going to get all 4 of those done, tightened down. These are the original studs for this, for the exhaust pipes here. So those are 12 millimeter. And let me get that done. I'll be back. All right, before we put the cam and the sprocket in there, you want to get this tensioner down in there, because you can't get it in there once the cam and sprocket are in. And it sits in just like that. See how it goes? The bow is towards the chain. Okay, anyway. All right, now cam and sprocket. The timing mark for the top is behind this plate, so you can't see it. But they were cool enough to put a little dot right there on that circular piece. Look, see it moving, that circular piece in the middle? There's a little dot. That's north, up. And that's your east-west right there. So you want that level with the head and that dot straight up. So, all right, so it took a little bit of finessing, but basically I had to hold the chain apart like that and slip the cam in this way and bring the sprocket up. And then I was able to inch it around on the sides. All right, so I was having hell keeping that mark exactly in the center of that hole, because as soon as I would let go of the fan here, it would shift. So I had to get this little bungee cord and finagled it just right that it's not moving now. And so I can get the teeth correct on the sprocket, because I kept noticing once I'd get the teeth on there, I would check down below and it would be off. So let me get that correctly lined up. I'll be right back. It is perfectly timed. See that dot? And the other dot. And then we got that dot facing straight up. So, and then also on the cam lobes here, sorry if I'm loud, but on the cam lobes, both of those oil holes are up. Okay. All right, so this is the chain tensioner. You want to get you a little baby flathead, and what you'll do is you take this nut out, you stick it in the end, and you turn it clockwise, and it'll suck this in just like this. So you want to screw it all the way in to give a little tightness to it, and that'll hold it back. And then you install it and put the little screwdriver in and let it tighten, or put tension on the chain rather. Let's get that on there. All right, like I said, it's on there, tightened down, and little flathead. And I've already released it. You can see it's not moving. And there's my timing marks. And then the one to the north. All right, so let's get to the nut. I'm gonna put the little protective nut back in there, but then after that, I'll be right back. All right, so as per the instructions, any part of this surface that touches the head, so any part where there's gonna be a bolt going through, basically, you want to get a thin layer of RTV. So I'm just gonna go around the whole edge, here, 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 and here. And I'll be back. Okay, so valve clearance for the intake is 0.1 millimeter to 0.15 millimeter. Exhaust 0.15 to 0.2 millimeter. So what we're going to do now is get all of the bolts into the valve cover, so this is all tightened down. And all right, so we're going to do the valve lash. All right, and with it already at top dead center, we can get the feeler gauge out and test those out. You can see somebody's already checked this and marked them. And then we'll have to get down here, take these 2 caps off, and get the exhaust side. But let's get the intake side first, and I'll be back. After doing the intake valves, I went ahead, pulled the head off like I showed you, put the RTV on there, put the assembly lube, and I put it back together. All right, so once you get the intake valves adjusted, just leave it at top dead center and then do the exhaust valves. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to get it back there. One tip is just bend the end of the feeler gauge you're going to use. For the exhaust valves, it's 0.15 millimeter to 0.2 millimeter, and the intake valves were 0.1 to 0.15 millimeter. Anyway, all right, let's get it. All right, gonna put the cap back on, or the cover back on, and then the two caps on the back side. I don't really know that I need to show you anything else because the rest of us just putting this crap back together, and you could just rewind the video to see how I took it apart. So, yeah, I'm gonna put it back together, and I'll be back when it's back together. All right, folks. It's all put back together. Let's crank her up. It is 7:59 in the morning. You can see the sun coming up. I'm gonna try it without the choke. Okay. Oh. All right, we'll choke it.